Welcome back. This one is chapter 12 and it's around targets. And it's a really interesting topic for me because I feel like over my years doing this, people come to me, can you help me to put targets in? And I go, okay, yep, why? No problem, because I can do that with one hand behind me back standing on my head. That's not the hard part. The hard part is why. What do you want to target? Well, I want to, they're just not hitting they're just not pulling their weight. They're not servicing. Okay, so it's a service problem. Oh, well, no, not really. It's just really, they're good. The clients love them. They're just really good at just not hitting their targets. That's a service problem. And they look at me like, I just told you it's not a service problem. Their service is really good. Their skill set's really good. It's a target problem. And I'm thinking, seriously, I don't think you heard me the first time. It's a service problem, right? So most people want to put a target in place because they want their team to perform. So it's a service problem, it's an inconsistency problem, it's a lack of understanding what their real job is. So I don't think targets work. That's my opinion. Targets are a very fair way to pay someone a bonus, but you need to be borderline, if that's even a thing, close to it anyway, because and I talk about this in the book. If you have, let's say this girl's target is 3,000 a week and she's doing 2.8, 2.5, that's an easy fix. But if you've got another one whose target's 4 and she's doing 1.5, we're a long way off 4, aren't we? So what happens is one might be carrying another. So example, you doing that many hours and you're bringing in 5 or 6, when really 3 would be your target. You're carrying them, right? You're carrying them. And the problem with that is then they are in your shadows. So you're doing something hoping that they'll watch you and all the information would jump out of you and onto them like fleas. You know, and nits, how they jump? No. Your skill set, your information, the way you service a client is not like a nit. It doesn't jump, mate. It doesn't jump, right? So what we've got to do is we've got to go smaller. We've got to think about what could I do? How do I change the way that my team think? Why do they don't understand about rebooking? Why is it they just cannot recommend home care? What the hell? I've told them. I know what to do. Slap a target on. No, all you're going to do is make them feel bad about their lack of performance. So it's really important that you understand that your success comes from training a team. End of story. So if you were to train your team 1 hour a week, so training, I would include having a one-on-one meeting, but it was showing them how to do something, teaching them how to speak to a client, how to manage a difficult client. Maybe you're writing scripts, maybe you're reading them out and you're role playing. This is all training. Now, if we were to do that and you were to really double down, and instead of doing 1 hour a week, you would do 2, would you get to an outcome twice as fast? I would say yes. So it makes sense to me if you wanted to get there 6 or 10 times faster, I think you could train someone 10 hours a week. Now you're going, oh, hello, settle down, love. I've got to earn a living. Exactly. So you might have to sacrifice some of your time. You might have to ask the person if they're prepared to bring in their family members and they can do the hair or the skin and we can, make that for free for their family. Or my mum would love that. My mum would love that. My sister would love that. My other sister would love that. So let's work on this, right? So yes, training is your problem and it's your team member, but here you get a good, keen team member and they'll absolutely bring in their girlfriends, their sisters, their mums. Probably only got one mum. And they'll bring in people and they'll want to do it. I remember this particular girl, she was so keen and she wanted to do spray tans. And this salon had a particular reputation for exceptional spray tans. And she, I don't know, if people charge $30, she charged 55. I thought, wow. She goes, yep, we back it, we guarantee it. It's the best spray tan in town. So I had a spray tan with her and it was really good. Now she had this young girl who wanted to do the spray tans, but of course they're the best reputation in town. So I can't let you do it because I'm charging 55 instead of 30. So she was holding her back. I said, well, why don't you train her? How long would it take? Oh, I don't know. She said, I don't know, maybe she'd done 15 people. I said, well, how long do they take? 15 minutes. How many days away could you book 15 in? She goes, wow. I said, yes. Sometimes you're too close. You can't see the answer is under your nose. And she goes, That's amazing. So, Mum, do you want to come in? Sister, do you want to come in? Asked her girlfriend, everybody, and I don't know, I think it took her about a week. It was done. Boom, baby. And the owner never did his breakdown again. Like, it's that simple. So if you're having trouble training and you might never like it, like you just think, oh my God, I'm going to stab her. Delete that because that was really not a nice thing to say. But you know how you feel like that. You think, oh my gosh, how many times? How many times? And then you go to do it and they go, I can't, it's too difficult. And you think, really? The good news is I'm putting together a program called the Team Machine. And the Team Machine is where you hand them over to me and I train them. And I get them to get back to the core belief. Why did you be a hairdresser or a beauty therapist in the beginning? Why? And we get to there. We look at what would make your day complete. What if your column was full with A's and B grade clients? Would that be a joy? Absolutely. What if you got paid more? What if your boss looked at you and said, wow, you want a Saturday off? You take it, love. You've earned it. Imagine that. That's what I want to do. I want to be the person who teaches your team member that they are the problem and they are also the solution. And so the program's called the Team Machine, and the goal is to have your team fully booked. Incredible. I'm going to show them how they need to market their own clients. They can't just sit on their fat bum and expect for you to show up. Yes, you do it. That's your job. And my saying was, I'll find them, you keep them. However, I think, why can't everybody bring their own clients in? If you want to be fully booked and you want to be paid more, then let's work on this together. Why is it just the salon owner's job? It's not. We can do it. It's really cool. It also comes with a referral program, plus a really good insight into what an average dollar sale is, how many clients look after, your opportunities, niching down, and so on and so on. It's absolutely gold. You can tell I'm a little wee bit excited. So, yeah, just thought to share. Targets fixes nothing. Training fixes everything. So I hope you found that helpful. Bye for now.
Chapter 12. Targets. Why, what, when, and how. Have you ever seen the joy in a team member's face when they hit their target? I have, many times, and it's magical. Every single time. Whether it's a team target or an individual target, it causes for celebration and a positive signpost on your salon's journey from good to great. Salon targets come in many forms. Some are based on money and others on number of services or products sold. I believe you need them all to run a booming salon business. Targets seem to be tricky to get your head around. So grab a cuppa and settle in for a lengthy chapter as I tell you what I've learnt about them over many years in this industry. In almost all other industries, it's normal to have targets that must be met. Most people in hair and beauty have a strong opinion on whether targets work in general and on whether team targets work better than individual ones. Some people feel that targets push their team into an uncomfortable zone where if you don't win, you lose. That's absolute rubbish. High achievers earn that label because they put in the hard work. They're the ones you want to be sharing your profit with. Like everything in life, it's all in the way you present the package. As a business coach, I've opted out of working with some salons simply because they don't want to implement targets at all. They didn't want their team members to know what kind of money they make for their business. They don't get that sort of thinking. If someone's a great earner for your business, why not reward them? In fact, if you don't, they will certainly move on, and I wouldn't blame them. Show me the money because I love money. Money's not a bad thing. It gives you choices. It provides peace of mind and security. When I think back to when I've been most stressed, it's always about my financial situation. As an industry, we need to get over the discomfort we have around money targets and understand that, in business, money is a measure. If your team members aren't doing a minimum of 3.5 times their gross wage, that's a business problem you need to address. You can change things by understanding your true value. Part of that is having a goal and aiming at a target or some line in the sand that says, This is the minimum requirement. The trouble I see around targets is that many salon owners don't nurture and encourage their team members to grow in skill and confidence so that consistently reaching a target is a real option. Often a target is thrown at someone without breaking it down or explaining it to the person how it might be achieved. Targets are not a set and forget option, and there is a correct time and place as to when to introduce them. Not all targets are created equal. Every single person in your business needs to have an individual target. Your junior might need to be able to deliver a shampoo and condition on a client in 5 minutes. That's a target. Or you might ask her to find 3 models every week for a tint application. Or someone else to recommend and deliver 5 basin services in a week. If your target is money-based, you need to explain what it is your team member needs to learn in order to hit target. Break it into bite-sized bits for them. In beauty, a target might be to deliver a number of microdermabrasions or lash extensions in one single week. In hair, it might be to deliver basin services. Individual targets means that you reward the individual, and group targets means that you reward the group. You need to try both to see how your team responds. I favour setting challenges around services rather than the money. All targets or goals have to use numbers, but for some reason, team members don't enjoy celebrating wins that are purely money-based. Service-based targets are about the overall care of your clients. If you continue to raise the level of service, more money will naturally come your way. Try this one tomorrow. This is a sample, doable team challenge. Set the target that every client for the entire day leaves your salon with a sample. It might be of a hero product like sunscreen. There's not one person on this planet who wouldn't be interested in a sunscreen sample, and most people would be open to knowing more about sunscreen. There are so many types available at so many price points. They come in roll-ons, sprays, creams, oils, mousses, and tinted moisturiser. It's overwhelming. So why not include a fact sheet with a sample? I bet you'll find that your sunscreen sales will be booming. Imagine what might happen if you extended the target to a week or a month. Why not do it and find out? Or this one, in hair. Your hero product might be a heat protector. Let me share a little insider trick with you. Get your client to put both hands out in front of you. Apply the heat protector to the back of one hand. If it's a spray, avoid overspray on the other hand. Give it a few minutes to dry, then grab your hairdryer and blow the hot air across both hands. Your client will find themselves pulling back the untreated hand, while the other is protected from the heat by the product. They'll be blown away, excuse the pun, by how effective it is. Now use the heat protector on their hair today. If they don't want to take it today, offer a take-home sample. It's sharing the knowledge like this that will take your team members' average thinking, my clients have everything, that kind of thinking, to actually being proactive and taking these product sales to a whole new level. Why not try setting a target around that little insider trick? See what happens. More target talk. Targets have long had a bad rap in the hair and beauty industry because most salon owners don't deliver the idea or concept of a target. They focus on the money target and fail to understand that there are many types of targets. Targets are often dropped on team members without explanation, why it's important, how to go about it, or what the reward is when it's reached. I always prefer to introduce targets only when the team is already in reach of hitting the target, so they can actually see that with a bit more focus, it's doable. Setting unrealistic targets benefits no one. To me, targets are a way of showcasing what people do and what they do well. Other than core targets, more about this later, you should change targets often to keep the interest up. Use different products or services to focus on. Get your product reps on board and get creative. Always put a time frame on your target. Everything needs to be a suck it and see basis. Revisit the targets after a week, a month, or 3 months, so you're not locked into something you wish you hadn't started. Often, I find myself helping salon owners remove existing targets because they just don't work. They are not fair to everyone and are either way too low that you are sharing profit that you don't have, or too high that the team member doesn't care or even try. I worked with one salon where the team members added up their own targets over the course of a week, and when the Saturday was finished, would help themselves to a cash bonus straight from the till on their way out the door. Took my $50, see ya. Oh my God, I could not believe it, but that was true. The nuts and bolts of core targets. Profit share. We have a lot to think about when it comes to paying target bonuses. Your team members get regular, consistent pay that comes with sick leave and holiday pay. If you want to go over and beyond that, then you're really talking about profit share, and there has to be a profit to share. I believe profit share is better delivered over 3 weeks and definitely not over one single week. It should only be given to a team member who consistently brings in more than 3.5 times their gross wage. In beauty, it can be more like 4 to 5 times, as a very high machinery cost needs to be factored in. Consistency cannot be measured over a single week. This longer time frame also gives your team members time to make up for events like public holidays or sick days. Here's an example. Let's say that Mandy's target is $4,000 in any single week, or $12,000 over 3 weeks. In the first week, Mandy might do $4,037. So she's 37 over. In the second week, she might do $3,850. So she's under. And in the last week, $4,542. Even though in the second week she was 150 short of target, overall her target is $12,429, which comes in over the $12,000. This means that Mandy gets her bonus for that 3-week period, not forgetting that she already has a base rate and pay, including annual leave, public holiday pay, and sick pay. Her profit share might be 5% of the whole, which is $621.45, on top of her existing pay. This amount needs to be taxed the same as all money paid to an employee does. How many team members feel that tax is a mean trick? In fact, it's the law. Cash payments, like mullets, are long gone. You cannot pay people bonuses in cash. You can't. Retail targets are part of the deal. Retail sales are not a separate thing to service sales. Servicing a client is done as a whole, so the profit share or money target should include both. Okay, retail targets are part of the deal. Retail sales are not a separate thing to service sales. Servicing a client is done as a whole, so the profit share or money target should include both. This approach gives your team a different mindset around retail, not as something you add on, sell or treat separately. Looking after any client in any salon, in any country, in any world should have a holistic approach. Here's a sample of how you should think. What are my clients' problems, challenges? How can I make suggestions around the solutions? How can I change what I have here in front of me? How is my client going to look after themselves when I'm not here? What lessons do I need to teach? What tips and tricks do I need to share here? What products do my client need to take home with them to reproduce what I've done here today? Nail it. Make that the focus every day of every client, and I guarantee you, you'll soon be looking at ways you can share your profits with your team. You've got to walk before you can run. If your team is telling you they need to be paid more, that they are incredibly valuable to you, then take a look at the loyalty of their client base. They need to be above 75% rebooking. Retail sales need to be consistently sitting at 20% of their old overall taking, or minimum of 15 units per week, or 3 units a day. That's really basic. We do way better than that, but that's very, very basic. In beauty, you could double that and have your retail sales sit at 40%. Of course, every salon is different. These figures are a guide to get you thinking. I don't know of any salon owner who wasn't prepared to share the profit with their team members, but I do know of many who simply don't have consistent profit share. So perhaps the answer is to make your targets around service-based challenges until you raise the standard across the board and are ready to enter into money-based targets. Let your team know where you're heading, why you're doing it in this particular order, and ask them to support you along the way. Invite them along for the ride. The nitty-gritty. Targets are tricky, but well worth the effort of working out the one that's right for your team. They're not a set and forget option. Explain each target to your team. Always set timeframes for targets. Try individual and team targets. Profit share is not a dirty word or two. Retail, sales and service sales go together. I hope you enjoyed that conversation and had a laugh or two. Now, if you would like more information on what was just discussed, or even just to connect with me, check out the links in the show notes. It would mean the world to me if you would like and share this podcast with a friend or someone that you think will enjoy it, so that we can continue to grow this community together. And I look forward to seeing you